I'm curious, real quick. So, like, if this is a conspiracy theory, like, why try to get everyone to believe that the Earth is round? That's my big hang up on this. Like, what is the benefit for, and who is it for the world to believe that we're on a round ball?
Well, nowadays, NASA gets $50 million a day for those fake CGI pictures that they give us. I mean, isn't that a good reason? $50 million of taxpayers' money being stolen so that we can get Hollywood in place.
Isn't that new, though? Like, the whole Earth being round, if it's a conspiracy, it's gone on for 50-plus years. Like, that's modern day why it makes sense, but why would it make sense back in the 60s?
Sure. Well, it makes sense going back as far as you want to, because if you want to control a population, do you think you go and you tell them exactly the truth about everything that's going on and the Earth that they're living in and how they came to be and what their place is in the cosmos? Do you think it's a good idea to tell them exactly what it is? Or would it be a better idea to tell them the exact friggin' opposite of what it is and make them believe that, so that it disempowers them, so that it turns you into the authority, so that all their information about space and the planets and cosmology and where we came from and where we might be going and who humanity really is comes from these few people: Neil deGrasse Tyson, Brian Cox. You get your little spokespeople, and they are now the purveyors of all truth off of this flat world that we live on, trying to tell us otherwise. So firstly, it sets up your Copernicus and your Newton and your Galileo and all of these Masons throughout history as being the saviors of science, as being the most trusted authorities, as being the initiators of Renaissance and starting this whole new way of correct thinking. So obviously, if you're going to control people, you have to lie to them. What's the biggest lie you could possibly lie to them about? This is it. But beyond that, I understand that people have to ask why, and it's perplexing. Oh, why would they do it? And you get caught there. But think of a detective coming upon a murder scene. Like I told you, I've got more than 200 proofs. You could spend days and days and days online seeing proof after proof, experiment after experiment, or you can just use your own eyes and experience and figure out that, of course, the Earth is flat and motionless. But you can do these things, but instead, what most people will do is they will wait until they can think of a motive that makes sense to them for why something like this could possibly happen before they will even take a minute to do some research about it. And I'm not saying this about you. I'm saying this about this general question that gets asked over and over again. A detective doesn't sit there at a crime scene covered in blood with corpses everywhere and say, I'm not sure if there was a murder here because I don't see the motive. What they do is they gather evidence and they figure out what is actually going on in the crime scene. And that's what I did, and that's what all flat earthers did. They bypassed their cognitive dissonance. They bypassed their what they thought they knew long enough to look at the evidence, not to look at a motive. We can look at that later, but look at the evidence first. If a lot of you people listening now are caught up on this, I can't see why they would. What would be the motive for doing this lie? Bypass that for a second and look at the evidence, because the evidence is there that they have lied. We can worry about why later. Let's look at the evidence.
Yeah, I agree with that. Now I have a question for you. What do you think about Admiral General